What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the FallenRedZeo. I'm back with more G.I. Joe Classified Series figures, and today we're going to be taking a look at the G.I. Joe Wave 1 Redeco figures. So I won't be doing an actual figure review today. We're just going to take a look at these original first 5 figures that were released for the Classified Series, and these are all the Redeco versions, so they've changed some details on them, kind of changed the paint, got rid of some of like the more outlandish color stuff, like on the Roadblock here, got rid of like the gold and everything. So we're just going to take a look at each figure side by side just to show the difference, just so you know what they look like compared to each other. So say you prefer the new Redeco one, then you can go out and find that one specifically, and you can pick and choose which figure you like the most between the two. So we're just going to take a look at the figures. Like I said, no reviews or anything today. And of course, we're going to be looking at Roadblock and Snake Eyes here, followed by Destro, Duke, and Scarlet. So we have all 5 figures here. Again, the first 5 that were released, and we're just going to see what's different between the 2 figures. So let me go ahead and get these out of the box, and then we'll compare them to each other. So starting off with the Roadblock, you can kind of see some of the differences right away. So again, they took a lot of the bright colors off. So like a lot of the red and the gold, they changed the color of the vest. It has like a little bit darker and more green version to it. Looks like the knives have been changed, so from a silver handle to a black handle. They got rid of the silver up on the shoulder, connection piece of the red strap into the front. It looks like the knife pocket as well has changed color, so it went from like a silver gray into a brown. They of course changed the gloves. The guns have changed, as you can see the difference. Now it's just all black compared to the silver and red. And then down on the legs as well, they got rid of the gold on the boots. So as you'll see going through these figures, they're just very small changes, just very minor things. So again, like with the Roadblock here, they pretty much just got rid of all the gold and a bunch of the red. So they did leave like the red up on the strap there. So I definitely think this new one is an improvement. So I myself would definitely prefer the Redeco. And next we have Snake Eyes. Now for Snake Eyes, I don't really see a whole lot of difference between the two. There's just one very small minor difference, but I thought there was more that they changed with this figure. So this one overall isn't really gonna be that much different. So with the regular releases here, so of course if we have the Hasbro Pulse exclusive, obviously more would be different with like the colors. But from the basic releases here, the only thing different I noticed is the red Arashikage logo above the visor on the first released one, where the new one doesn't have it. But other than that, I don't really see anything different. The colors didn't change. It looks like maybe the belt had a little bit brighter Arashikage painted onto it compared to the new version. But other than that, everything else looks exactly the same. Like I can't find anything different. The guns and weapons or everything else is exactly the same. So I don't really notice any difference. Now, one thing they did probably change is I think there was issue with the knife going into the holster on this one, and with the new one, it just easily slides right in. But other than that, I don't really see any difference. Just that red marking on top of the head. So this is one that it doesn't really matter which one you get because they're both exactly the same. So just if you want that red logo, go with the original one compared to the Redeco. And then we got Destro, which is pretty much going to be like the Snake Eyes, where there's barely any difference at all. Like from what I can see here, there is no real difference at all. Like everything else looks exactly the same. They didn't really change anything at all. There is one minor difference that without me pointing out to you, probably wouldn't even see it unless you already knew about it. And that little difference is from the original release. If you can see here up on his head, he does have this like little circle design there, which I assume that's a part of like the molding or like the making of the head and stuff, is where that circle came from, and that's why it's there. And apparently that bothered some people, so they ended up remaking it. And so with the Redeco version, that circle is now gone off the top of the head, so it's no longer there, but it does look like there's now a circle on the side of his face, like right over here. So it's like they moved it from there over to the side of his head. So that's really the only difference I see between these two figures, is just that circle placement on the head. So beyond that, that's really the only difference. Like I said, everything else is exactly the same, comes with all the same accessories, nothing's changed beyond that. So for me, either way, it doesn't matter. The circle on head doesn't bother me, so I take the original release one, but either one's going to be pretty much the same. And next up, we've got Duke, and again, he's going to be pretty much like Roadblock, where they got rid of a lot of the reds and the golds. And so it seems more like the Joes is who they've affected the most. So everything looks pretty much the same, except for like the red pieces there on the shoulders. Backpacks still look exactly the same. The belts look relatively the same. Yeah, it looks like they got rid of some of the gold, like on this pocket here, it's just silver on that one. One difference is the hands, so they changed the hands, so they switched it from the red to the dark green, even the watch there. And of course with the guns, so they took all of the gold off the gun and just painted it black or the dark gray. And then down to the legs, again, they took a lot of this gold and blue out and just made it into the dark green and silver. So I really do like the look of the new Duke. Of course, the old one didn't bother me so much because I don't mind the gold and all that stuff, so it doesn't really bother me. And I like the red on the gloves, so I think I like that stuff a little bit more. But when it comes like to leg pieces, I do like the new Duke a little bit better. And of course, the gun looks a little bit more realistic, even though it still has that futuristic design. So again, like for Duke, to me, it's up in the air. I do like a little bit more on the Redeco version, but the old one to me didn't really have any issues in the first place. So neither would bother me, but I do think the Redeco is just a little bit superior. And finally, we have Scarlet, which I do think the Redeco looks a lot better, especially with that face. The face looks really pale and just kind of weird with the bright orange hair, so they made it more of like a darker like red color, which looks a little bit more realistic, and they added some more details onto the face and darkened it up a little bit. They made it look a little bit more realistic. I don't really know what changed too much, just for some reason it does look a little bit more realistic. And then they changed the outfit a little bit, so they got rid of a bunch of the gold like on her chest plate on the old one and now made it in like a darker brown. Changed changed her undershirt, so this one has purple shirt on, and now it's just all black, so it makes it much more subtle. Down the legs, we had gray pants on, now we have brown pants, still has the red design there. And overall, the legs are pretty similar. They just changed it more to brown, so obviously the gold and brown aren't that much different, just like the shininess. Still yellow, and then got rid of some of the blue and red. And then everything else looks pretty much the same. Pretty much just changed the color outfits and then redid that head design, which I think is the biggest improvement. So I definitely like the Redeco a lot more, although I do like the purple shirt on the old one. So there, I just wanted to show you the older G.I. Joe classified versions compared to the new Redeco ones. I believe these are the versions they're now like putting out in stores, so you won't be able to find these older ones as much. So I just want to show you comparisons. So if you maybe hadn't picked any of these up yet, you could decide which one you'd rather have, or if you do have these older ones but don't like the design, you could see what's new and different with the Redecos and maybe decide you want to rebuy the figures with the newer design. So like I showed for a couple figures like the Snake Eyes and the Destro, there was barely any change at all, so to me there's no real difference, but it's mostly for the other Joes. So if you want to have more realistic looking versions, you can buy the Redecos compared to the older ones. But I just want to show you the comparison since we did recently receive the new Redeco figures, so I just wanted to show a little comparison while we had them all together and just give you some insight to what has changed. But let me know down in the comments which version of the figure you prefer the most, and if you enjoyed this video, please leave a thumbs up for me. But I want to thank y'all for watching. I hope you all stay awesome out there, and I'll see you in our next review.